everyone, and welcome to the Trending in My Life podcast, episode 104. This week, life laundry. And in this case, I'm talking about actual laundry. I was on the train yesterday, and two old ladies got on. Not dodgy old ladies, quite sprightly old ladies, and they sat opposite each other. And they started talking about what day of the week they wash, whites or coloured laundry. And it got me thinking. For one thing, I don't think I've ever separated whites from colours in laundry. It means you do two different wash loads and you have to have enough rather than run the machine with hardly anything in it. I think if you have a big family, that makes sense, and you can put the whites on a higher temperature and therefore they tend to stay white. What I find is if I buy anything white, I better not plan on wearing it for very long because they go grey so easily, whites, don't they? So if I have anything, it tends to be like a Primark t-shirt that cost me £3 and I will just go and replace it. I know it's wasteful, but I'll then use the old t-shirt as a duster, so, I recycle, reuse, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, back to the laundry. For a lot of years in my life, I've lived in places, rented places that don't have a washing machine, and even if they had a washing machine, they didn't have a dryer. And we don't have the kind of weather where you can hang clothes out all year round outside, and you don't want to have lots of wet clothes, damp in the space that you're living in. So I've been going to laundrettes for a lot of my life, and in London I found one in central London that I liked. And when I say that, when you go in on your own sort of early in the morning, you want to feel safe, and I found one where I felt like that, and the owner was always present. It wasn't locked up and just people coming and going, but you get used to it, and the owners get used to you being a regular. And one place I went to, even though I moved location of where I lived, I still made that Saturday morning journey back to that laundrette rather than try and find another one. And you, as a regular, I literally went to this one laundrette for years, and the owner would always say good morning, and then it got to the point where he would offer me a cup of tea first thing because he was making one because he'd just arrived. And it not only becomes part of your life's routine, it also, you kind of feel like you belong, which I know is kind of sad, but there you go. And the thing is with laundry, it's a necessity. We don't want to have stinky, dirty clothes, so we do it. And my laundry would be once a week going to a laundrette, because the thing is, I don't think you could afford to go to a laundrette more than once a week. Not unless you had a special emergency, like loads of muddy clothes, or perhaps you were doing the duvet one week, something like that. So it would be once a week. Now am in the situation where there's a washing machine and a dryer in the house that I rent. And I do laundry perhaps 3, maybe even 4 times a week. And even for 2 people, there seems to be enough to do that. But if you had a family, I can maybe understand doing the whole whites and colours thing, and on different days of the week. And you could, with a family, I can quite easily see how you'd end up running a washing machine once a day, every day of the week. But then that's different from the people who, they will have wash day, and either Saturday or Sunday of their weekend, they will do like 6 loads of washing or something. And the whole day is based around that. I mean, obviously, while the cycles are running, they're doing other fun things like hoovering, mopping the floor. But I have to say, I do subscribe to that Fly Lady plan where they, not literal subscription, but I believe in it, in that sort of, you come home from work and you set a timer and you do a quick 10-minute cleanup, you know, putting things away, or you do 10 minutes cleaning the bathroom, or 10 minutes in the kitchen, stuff like that. And in that way, you never have that whole day's cleaning where you feel you lost a day of your weekend because you were doing so much cleaning. Anyway, listening to these two old ladies discussing the days of the week that they do their washing, I was struck by the fact that, you know, they were both white-haired old ladies, and I thought, this clearly forms a serious part of their life. And I thought, do you know, laundry is probably one of the few things that we do from adulthood all the way through to old age until you're incapable of doing it, I guess, and somebody does it for you. I thought how quite often we have routines we're not even aware of, routines that go throughout our life and in some degree shape our world. Because, you know, like I said, Saturday used to be early morning washing for me, and I would get that washing done for the week and I would bring it back home, put it away, and then the rest of the day would be for me to go off and go out and about and do whatever I wanted. And sometimes when life is slightly falling apart, it's those routines that really help. And of course I'm sat here with a completely empty fridge, and just recently that's quite a common thing for me. I've gone to this phase of wanting to buy what I eat on a daily basis, on a what I feel like basis. I think changes in the weather can put you in that kind of frame of mood where you might have been having soups and wintry meals, and then you switch to salads, and which you don't want you don't want five boxes of salad in the fridge, because they're not going to taste as fresh each day. You are going to want to buy stuff like that fresh. And I say that from a point of view of, I would rather pay £2 for a ready-made salad that somebody's done with lots of different bits and pieces in, than go and buy all the bits and pieces, because I know by the end of the week half of those will end up in the bin because they'll have gone limp and stuff, and at the same time I just won't have eaten it all. So yeah, food is definitely one of life's routines, and it doesn't matter if you have one meal a day or if you have 3 meals a day. It's still part of your life routine that you have to buy that stuff, you know, or grow that stuff if you've got a garden which is a sort of self-sufficient type garden. Yeah, it's almost like that comforting routine in our life that we don't even think about. I have to admit, my empty fridge, I've been doing this for maybe a month, and I've got to the point where it's quite annoying when I open the fridge and there's nothing in it. You know, it's like, oh, I'm a bit peckish. And I go to the fridge and open it and it's like, there's nothing in here. So yeah, it's wearing thin, this little routine I've been in at the moment. I mean, partly it stops me overeating. It stops me binging on stuff because there's not a lot of stuff in there. But yeah, I'm getting a bit fed up of it now. But it's still a routine, you know. And whether it's a routine that you sit at your computer and you pick out a weekly shop, or even, I know, like Amazon will deliver in half an hour, won't they, if you pick out a food order. I don't know what part of Amazon that is, but I know that does happen. But either way, you have had to sit down, make a decision and order it and have it come to your door. So you've made a conscious decision, and it's been part of your day that you've done that. So it's another one of those routines. I think travel in some way is part of your life routines, because whether it's travel by foot or travel by train or bus or heaven knows plane. I guess there are still people that fly all around the world on business. It's way above my pay grade. But yeah, I was thinking about the fact that even if you live in the same town that you work in, you will have to get from your home to your work, and you will walk there or bus there. I mean, in London, everyone's on the trains all the time, and it's part of life, it's part of routine, because Greater London is spread a long way out of the city main centre. There's the City of London, there's Central London, but Central London is where you've got Oxford Street and Buckingham Palace and all those kind of things, and the city is the, you know, where it's all high towers and businesses. Actually, the city is really weird on a weekend. If you go to the city on a weekend, all the shops are shut because there's nobody in that area, so it's not worth them opening. And the streets are deserted. It's a real sort of weird feeling to walk through it, because the Museum of London is near the city. So if you were going to that, you notice this because you're passing through streets like that. Yeah. Transport, travel, it's part of our routine. And I know when we say the word travel, we think about it being vacations, but we still travel to get to work. We actually travel to get to relatives, at special times of year, Christmas, stuff like that. You will routinely travel to see different relatives that you don't live nearby, children going home to parents even going to grandparents, stuff like that. So again, it's one of those routines that make up our life. And in London, we complain about the transport all the time. We get so used to the fact that like an underground train will turn up every 3 minutes, that if it's 4 minutes, then it's the end of the world. But it's the life. It's the life that we live that busy, get from A to B, do what you need to do kind of thing. And it's part of being in London. But yeah, back to the laundry. Yeah, I mean, I can remember, oh God, years and years ago, I used to hand wash everything in a sink and put it in a spin dryer, a little spin dryer. I think it cost about £10. And then hang it out on a washing line in the garden. And that's how I used to do the washing. But yeah, so glad things have moved on. We have a dryer that doesn't have a pipe that goes out the window. And I think it's amazing that things developed to the point where they do this. I don't know what it has inside of it, but it's all enclosed, and it's marvellous. And they certainly last a while. I think this one's about 5 years old now, and it's brilliant. But when I finally was in a house with a dryer, I thought, this is amazing, because I don't have to haul loads of laundry to the launderette. And it was life-changing. A dryer. I know that sounds crazy. And it's unfortunate that when you rent houses, they may have a washing machine in, but it may not be a very good washing machine. I mean, the one that's in the house we're in at the moment was, I would say, almost brand new. It still had its stickers on. So yeah, we were lucky with that, and it's very efficient. It also doesn't have that thing, I'm sure you all know, this thing where you go to open the door and you have to wait like 3 minutes or something before you can open the door. That happened for years. Well, I don't know whether they're all like this now, but this one, it does like 3 beeps and it's done, and you can open the door immediately, which is brilliant. I mean, what did they expect it to do in those 3 minutes while it was stopped? I mean, it wasn't going to leak water out anywhere, and it wasn't. Yeah, I can't really understand why they forced people to wait 3 minutes, but they did. So it's wonderful that you don't have to do that now if you have one like that, just like we do here. Routines. I think routines make up a lot of our life without us thinking about it. And I'm looking out at the grass on the back garden at the moment, and I mowed it yesterday. So proud of myself. because this year has been the hardest year to get it to look like a vague lawn type effect. And it never looks like, you know, a green lawn with lines in it, stuff like that. And it's on a slope and it's very bumpy, the actual ground underneath. But the first mow of the year that I did back in April cut it from, you know, winter long to shorter. But then we've had all such weird baking sun and then lots and lots of rain, and I ended up with all these weird long bits of grass with fluffy bits on the end, but all sort of scattered about and not all consistent all over it. And I sort of snipped them and pulled them out, and so that I got it to the point where it wasn't quite as bad as that. And then yesterday I cut the whole grass, and finally, I mean, God, we're in June now, it actually looks like it should look. And now I have to concentrate on doing something with the border, which is in this house. I've never been in a house where they've had like little bits of slate instead of earth, and there are patches cut in the plastic below to allow one or two plants. But in theory that's great, but they do kind of wander around the place and you end up with like a lot more plants than there's supposed to be. So I need to get that sorted somehow. So I need to go out and buy about 6, not all at the same time because I couldn't afford it, but about 6 medium-sized plants, like statement plants that you could put in each of those gaps where they should be. And then you've just got these one plants, but I'm not quite sure what to get. And I know they need to be hardy ones because of living through the plastic. I think it's a really weird way of growing things, but I understand the logic. It's all about keeping weeds down and making a garden easy to care for and stuff like that. So it's a pain in the arse to do. It really is, when you rent a place and you have to shell out money to keep it looking nice. But at the same time, I'd feel terribly guilty if I left it go to rack and ruin. And the last place we had, I really got the garden from scratch to looking beautiful, and I was so proud of it, and it broke my heart to leave it. Not the house, I wasn't sad to leave the house, but the garden definitely. So I think there's a trip to the garden centre in my future. Yeah, and I think cutting the grass, mowing the grass, or gardening generally, if you have a garden, you are forced to take care of it, whether you are a gardener or not, because the more you leave it, the more work it takes to get it back into shape. So, but that's another one of our life's routines, like the laundry. I started with laundry because you can be a bit of a slob and you can not hoover your house or your flat, and you can not mop your floors or clean your kitchen very often, blah blah blah, although please do clean your kitchen, we don't want you getting sick. But laundry is something, because you go out and you have a job and you're amongst other people, laundry is something you will do, because, you know, if you've got a big pile of smelly clothes up the corner of your room, you will need to do it so that it's socially acceptable for you to go to your job without everybody complaining about the smell. So yeah, it's one of those routines that's unavoidable. You do have to do it. I think laundry is one of many in our lives that is a routine that goes throughout our lives, that shapes our days and our weeks. I do, you know, the laundry basket gets full, I put it in the washing machine, or I think, oh, I'll just get a bit ahead with it and stuff like that, so I do it like that. But yeah, it's part of our life, and I think we rely on it to be comforting, and we follow our routines when things go up and down. You might forget it completely if you're having a wonderful time and you can just go out and buy new clothes. But equally, if you're feeling very depressed and you're home all the time and things aren't going brilliantly, it will drag you out of your misery to actually do something, to have to deal with putting laundry on and getting it out of the washer and putting it in the dryer, blah blah blah. And it's kind of helpful to us to have routines that drag us through the bad days and carry us through the good days. So if you've enjoyed me rambling today, please like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, and come back next time. Bye for now.